Now, he's more than just a chief executive of one of the world's leading brands. Steve Jobs has been the face of Apple from its beginnings in his parents' garage more than 30 years ago to the world's most valuable company, with a few very public ups and downs in between. After a long battle with cancer, he announced he is stepping aside because he simply can't meet duties and expectations. The announcement has wiped billions of dollars off Apple's stock market value, as Katie Razzle now reports.
From the computer he built in his parents' garage in the 70s, through those functional-looking prototypes that were classics of their time, Steve Jobs quickly understood that beauty and technology could go hand in hand. His company influencing not just how we work, but how we listen to music, how we communicate. Apple's growth perhaps mirroring our own technical evolution.
And we call it the iPad.
The announcement that Steve Jobs is stepping down as chief executive because he can no longer meet his duties saw Apple's share price fall dramatically last night. It's rallied a little today. Mr. Jobs, who has cult status for his many fans, has battled pancreatic cancer and a liver transplant. 6 years ago, soon after diagnosis, he had this to say to American students.
For the past 33 years, I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today?
Without him, without that vision, questionable. I mean, I sincerely hope it carries on, from strength to strength.
But do you think anyone who uses a Mac or uses an iPhone, do you think they actually care about who is in charge of the company?
I think they do, and I think that's the difference between Apple and any other computer company out there. They very much care that Steve Jobs is at the centre of it.
Why?
Because of the things that he has done for that industry, the whole persona that he gives that company. He gives it, like I say, heart and soul, a company that you want to have an involvement with, that you want to buy their products. You wait for their next products. He has created something quite unique in the computer industry, and I can't really think of another company that's done anything like it, and it's all down to Steve Jobs.
We shall prevail.
Remember, soon after this, the launch of the Apple Macintosh in 1984, Steve Jobs was very publicly ousted by his own board. But it turned out, he said, to be the best thing that ever happened to him. Mr. Jobs rejoined the company a decade later, and just a few weeks ago saw Apple temporarily take the top spot as the world's biggest company. Today I met another entrepreneur who back in the 70s was also innovating in the brave new world of home computers. What does Sir Clive Sinclair think of Steve Jobs and the company he's created?
Were you aware of Steve Jobs and Apple? How quickly did you know about them?
Oh yes, yes, very much so, because they got a lot of publicity and what they were doing was very pioneering. Steve Jobs has really, really driven that company and inspired the people and chosen the people.
Where do you see the company going? Do you think this is a moment which will mark a demise?
I think it'll be a great struggle. They'll be fine for quite a while because they'll glide on the batch of products they have. But taking the next step is going to be terribly difficult. And without Steve Jobs to make the decision, though he might still be able to, I don't know, I think they'll find it very difficult.
Steve Jobs' successor is Tim Cook, previously Chief Operating Officer. With £15 billion wiped from the share price, today he wrote to employees saying Apple's best years lie ahead. Mr. Jobs becomes chairman of the board. At just 56, he's hoping his health will allow him years of innovating to come.
Katie Razzle reporting. So what does happen when you build a company around one man? We analyse that on our website, plus a photo gallery of Apple gadgets and how they've evolved. Go to our website, channel4.com/news.